Hello and welcome to Bangladesh Today. I am Smita Prakash. Continuous violence in the country by the BNP, the Jamaat Islami and the Hefazat Islam has paralyzed normal life in Bangladesh for more than a week now. While the government has cracked down on violent protests, the BNP and its allies have not let up their pressure tactics even a bit. We spoke with Iqbal Sobhan Chowdhury, media advisor to the Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, who said that one had to understand that this is all a desperate attempt by the Jamaat to keep itself relevant. He also said that the Jamaat Islami and its allied units do not enjoy mass support, and their diminishing vote share in the past was proof of that. The Khalida Zia-led opposition BNP had made its intention clear when it refused to join the caretaker government and chose instead to adopt the method of violent street protest, demanding the resignation of Prime Minister Hasina.
Main intention is to hold a free and fair election. Many parties, they have the apprehension that under a political government, the election cannot be fair and free. But the present government and the election commission had repeatedly said that all the provisions, all the programs will be taken and to hold the election in a free and fair way. And for that matter, the Prime Minister said that let there be a all-party government, that is all-party cabinet, which will oversee and help the election commission to hold the election in a fair way. And I believe that because the caretaker government also cannot hold the election in a fair way, that had been proved in the past. In 1996, when this caretaker provision had been incorporated, those who lost the election, they said that because that time the BNP lost the election, they said that the caretaker government didn't work fairly. Similarly, in 2001, when another election was held under caretaker government, that time the opposition party, which party is now in power today, they said that the caretaker government was not neutral. Similarly, in 2008, when the election was held under caretaker government, the present the party in opposition, that is BNP, they lost the election. They said that the caretaker government was also not fair. So, the caretaker government, the neutral caretaker government was not beyond any question.
No election candidate from the BNP and its 17 allies, including the Jamaat Islami, has filed nomination papers. The deadline for submission of nomination papers was December 2nd.
She has also proposed that any portfolio, whatever the opposition demands, she will give those portfolios in the cabinet to those members from the opposition parties, but they will have to be the elected members in the parliament. And the opposition is not yet agreeing to that. They are demanding, initially they were demanding a caretaker government, but recently they have shifted from their original demand. They are now demanding the resignation of the Prime Minister. Though the constitutional experts, they are saying that the demand for resignation of the Prime Minister at this moment is not legal, and this will create a constitutional crisis in the country.
The Prime Minister's media advisor, however, was still hopeful of a dialogue between the two major parties and said that elections could be held in a free and fair manner if the leading parties come to an agreement.
It is better that all political parties talk in a democratic norms and in a constitutional manner, which is acceptable under a constitution. So, only the elected representatives, they have the right to form the government, to run the government. So, I believe that both the political parties, that is the ruling party Awami League and the main opposition party BNP and other parties, they will come to an agreement and make the election commission and the election process so transparent and strong that elections are held fairly and without any accusation or allegation.
The Jamaat protesters have taken the lead with the support of the BNP to create political instability in the country. They encourage hoodlums to clash with police personnel and resort to vandalism in different districts. At least 40 people have lost their lives and many have been seriously injured ever since the Bangladesh Nationalist Party and its allies began blockading roads, ports and railway lines about 10 days ago. Due to successive damaging hartals and blockades, businesses have come to a grinding halt. The prices of essentials have soared as well. Except for a routine press release in which she urged party workers not to harm people and public property, Khalida Zia has so far shown no regret. Chowdhury said that the violence notwithstanding, there was great fervour among other parties, including the ruling Awami League, for the upcoming elections.
Despite the current spate of violence that is destabilizing the peace and normal life in the country, at the instance of the call by the main opposition party BNP and its fundamentalist ally Jamaat Islami, there had been a great enthusiasm by different political parties, including the present ruling party Awami League and its allies.
This wave of violent protests has been on for the last few months over war crime convictions, presenting the government with a security and credibility challenge ahead of the elections. Despite the High Court order stating the registration of Jamaat-e-Islami party as illegal, it continues to influence the BNP by motivating its activists to push for their demands. The main aim, of course, as Chowdhury also said, was to some way or the other stop the war crimes trials.
The present government, they, according to the 2008 election mandate, they formed the international tribunal to try the those persons who are accused of opposing the liberation war, liberation of the country, and at the same time doing the crimes against humanity. They are now being tried in the court. Against many of them, there had been verdict to hang them, and they have been given the highest punishment. To foil this trial process and to save those war criminals, many believe that the main opposition party, at the instance of the Jamaat-e-Islami, which is accused of doing those war crimes during the 1971, they are doing the present instigating the present rising crimes and the violence in the country. Jamaat-e-Islami, according to the verdict of the High Court and Supreme Court, they have been termed as a fundamentalist party, and they are not abiding by the constitution of the country.
Bangladesh has not had the closure it has wanted for the crimes committed against its people by Pakistani troops and their local collaborators in 1971. It's a deep wound that needs healing, but the pressure tactics by fundamentalists to cover up the crimes and to stop the trial process makes it increasingly difficult.
As I believe that the genesis of the liberation war was a secular, democratic Bangladesh, and the people of Bangladesh, though the majority population, they are religious, that is they are religiously, they are Muslim, but they do not support any fundamentalism, they do not support the anti-communal forces. So, I believe that Bangladesh, despite all the designs by the communal forces or by the fundamentalist forces, Bangladesh will remain as a secular, democratic Bangladesh and country, because that is the main genesis of our liberation war. And I strongly support many within and outside the country. They are demanding, they are pleading the main opposition party to join the dialogue with the government, and they should stop the present programs that will violate the peace of the country. They instigate the fundamentalist or the communal forces in the country. They should stop this type of programs, and they should sit in a political dialogue with the government, and government should also create an environment where there is a meaningful dialogue to restore peace and democratic process in the country. The government should also continue to give a feeling to the opposition parties that the government will not repress them, government will not stop them from doing their democratic peaceful programs. The political leaders, they will not be harassed, and they will be given the enough opportunity, and in the elections all forces, all people will be given level playing ground, so that the elections are held in a peaceful and fair way.
The BNP, in siding with the Jamaat, is looking to win over the votes of radical hardliners. Therefore, Khalida Zia wants to depict her party as a deeply religious party against an almost atheist secular Awami League-led government. The government is determined to go as scheduled with the vote on the fixed date, which many fear might set off another round of bloody violence. The majority of the people in Bangladesh surely don't want any more street mayhem and would prefer a peaceful and stable election process. Hopefully, the BNP and the Jamaat cooperate and listen to the wishes of the people. Before we conclude this episode, a roundup of the recent events in Bangladesh. M.A. Irshad's Jatiya Party members who had earlier submitted their nomination letters suddenly withdrew from the contest. Irshad also asked his leaders to resign from the caretaker cabinet. He also said that the decision was taken considering the stand of most political parties, including those in the main opposition alliance. Meanwhile, to end the impasse between the two warring parties, India's Foreign Secretary Sujata Singh visited Dhaka and hoped the forthcoming elections would strengthen democratic institutions in Bangladesh. Singh called on the country's Foreign Minister Abdul Hassan Mahmood Ali and then met Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, where she conveyed the importance which India attaches to having good relations with Bangladesh. Also, India's main opposition, the Bharatiya Janata Party, urged Bangladeshi government to control the mobs who were committing atrocities on the minority Hindus during the political tussle. A 7-member delegation of the BJP met with Bangladesh's Deputy High Commissioner Abida Islam in Kolkata and submitted a memorandum. Good produce of paddy crop has failed to make farmers of Thakurgaon and Panchagarh districts happy as the prices continue to decline amid transportation crisis caused by the countrywide hartals and blockades by the BNP and its alliance. More news and views in the coming episodes. Thank you for watching this edition of Bangladesh Today.